I believe we are centralizing the decentralized internet, and that's not a good thing. And this is happening across the board. This is happening at the network layer with the backbones. This is happening with the hosting providers, or in this case, the so-called cloud platforms, Microsoft, Google, of course, AWS, and whatnot. It is happening at various other levels, like the application level. So the centralization, and of course, you see that, and we discussed that in the past in the context of DNS and various other. So the concept of centralizing all of these in a decentralized world will hit us bad. And this is another example where you have millions of users of data that is being exposed. That is what happened with what was that Experian, right? Well, you centralized all the credit score data. Well, surprise, right? And you see that in the as a consequences today, we have centralized, manufacturing of semiconductors. Well, we are seeing the consequences of it throughout the supply chain. We are seeing centralizing the battery production, and 90% of the batteries come from a certain region. Again, all of this we have moved to a centralization model, which is not a good thing. And you're giving up a certain things, which is ability to survive with when there are some disruptions. Like we see that today, uh, California fires, right? Well, they are affecting the breweries in Texas, in Austin. Why? Because they are dependent on that network. Same thing in Midwest. We see farmers selling cows because there are fires there, because they are dependent on them. So we are with the broader concept of globalization and whatnot. We have centralized too many things without looking at the repercussions. I know I'm going much broader here, but this is just one example of such centralization. Internet, one of the powerful aspects of internet used to be decentralization, but now we are centralized. What happens when there's a vulnerability in a central system? Just like we have seen with Experian, we are seeing with Microsoft, and we're going to see a lot of those moving forward.
I'm just going to pick up on this whole idea of, even if you have the best of intentions, it feels like in today's world, because we're so interconnected and because everything is kind of scaled up, and you have sites where upwards of 2 billion folks are actively using a site every day. So even if you have the good intentions, let's say that you do your testing, but you can't test with 2 billion people, so you roll something out with the best of intentions, and immediately there are people out there who spot the flaws, spot the issues, and are able to exploit the issues. And so that's what's, I think we're seeing more and more of that, because as Raju just said, a lot of things are centralized now, and you kind of couple centralization with mass scale and being able to reach billions of people. Well, your best intended idea could wreak havoc. What's that saying? The roads to heaven or hell are paved with the best intentions, or something like that. And I think you're seeing some of this play out. And when the flaw hits, it doesn't affect a couple of people, or a couple of hundred people. It literally can affect a couple hundred million people within a blink of an eye, and now it's out the gate. So I think, yeah, this is something that it's not really central just to privacy, but it's so important when it comes to privacy that things are handled in a much more tighter fashion, that things are tested more thoroughly, and maybe open up the testing to a broader set of people before you throw something out to billions of people.
That point you made, Brent, on once it's out, right? What happens then? The key thing is nothing happens, right? That's an issue. That's a fundamental issue. So, which means there is no accountability. What happened to Experian? All of us, all of our data probably is up there. What happened to Experian? What each of us were paid $2, $3, something like that, and then back to business again. So the implications, and who is really paying the price? It is the consumer. The ones that are leaking the information are back to it again, and then it's like a slap on the wrist, if that. And it's like, they lose the data. They say, "Oops, sorry," and then they move on. So to some extent, that part, "Oops, sorry," is part of their business model, and that has to be approached by the governments, and that is where, laws like GDPR are important, and a lot of countries are going down that path, and US also has to embrace this.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's just a cost of doing business, right? Like you were saying with the Experian thing, a couple dollars here and there that you may get back. Um, I think the lawyers kind of make out with like bandits on that situation, and then even you could pay me $2, you could pay me $200. I don't think that really covers the amount of like long term issues I might have to deal with in terms of my data being out there. Let's say you get some identity theft. It's not like Experian is really going to be here like, oh, we're the ones that leaked your information and now someone else took it and pulled lines of credit on your name. Oops, here's our Experian premium product you can subscribe to for $100 a year that will protect you in the future, right? And will protect you against leaks that we made, right? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense in that regard. But that's exactly what they did. They offer like 1 year of their little privacy service for free, and they think that that's the I guess all that matters, right? Same thing we were talking last week about T-Mobile offering that Norton, identity protection service for 2 years for their customers. It's like, cool, you cut a deal with Norton, you probably got that for, pennies on the dollar as a bulk deal. And then, you come out a lot ahead versus having to pay out customers for their troubles, right?
And if you went through the process of the free thing that they offer, and I clicked on that link and then tried to go down that path to see, they wanted more information.
They got to verify you. They don't know for sure if you're the one whose data you're saying you got leaked.
And they send me that link, and then they want, and they say, there's no way I'm giving them additional information.